All right, good morning and welcome back. So today is our first day of hybrid learning. So first half of the alphabet's at school. Those of you in the second half of the alphabet, you guys are at home, so you're watching this video instead. Now, here's the thing. If you want to get the notes for today, reminder, if we go into resources and then chapter 7, then today is February 1st, so you'll come down here to 2.1, click in there. Now there's 3 links in here. The first one is the notes, so you can open that. The second one was the video, which you guys already found if you're watching it here. The third one is our It's Learning assignment that you'll work on today. Now just a reminder, tomorrow I am proctoring the I-Step, so there will not be any lesson for tomorrow. It's kind of a catch-up day, things you need to catch up on. Some of you have not yet done the chapter 7.1 quiz that we had on Friday. If that's the case, you'll need to go back here to 129. And on that one, there's just this one thing, chapter 7.1 quiz. And let's see, I forget. I think it is just 8 questions, so not very long. You need to go back, take care of business. So in chapter 7, that's where you can find it. But we are in here 2.1. So if you want the notes, you can open them here. If you want to access them with Cami, you can take notes right on your computer. If you want to print them at home, that's fine. Mine's taking a second to load here. But right up here in the top right, you can see there's a button to download it. It's totally up to you. You also don't have to do that. If you just want to take notes on notebook paper, that is fine. However, if I were you, I strongly recommend you take notes in some way. Whatever is your favorite way to take notes, that's fine. Find something that works for you. And then those of you who are in the second half of the alphabet on Wednesday, I'll see you guys face to face. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Let me know. So anyway, today we are going to talk about similar polygons. So we have 3 vocab words, although the second one here is not really a word. It's more of a symbol. So our first vocab word, similar polygons. So this is when we have two polygons whose corresponding angles are congruent and the lengths of the corresponding sides are proportional. Now last semester, you guys know corresponding. We talked about that when we were dealing with parallel lines that kind of like relate to each other. So in a pair of shoes, the right and the left foot, they're the corresponding shoes, they go together. And we know our corresponding angles have to be congruent for them to be similar. And unlike on a congruent triangle or a congruent shape, on a congruent shape, the sides have to be the exact same length. Here they just have to be proportional, meaning as the sides, like the ratio between the two shapes has to be consistent. And we'll show some examples of that in a little bit. Now this symbol, it's like our tilde. If you look on your keyboard, top left, to the left of the number 1 key, if you hold shift, you can get that, and it's a little squiggle. That just means similar. So you might remember if I wrote up here at the top last semester, this symbol meant congruent. Well, congruent is when all parts are the same. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Here, if it's similar, they just have to be proportional. And then our final one here is scale factor. And this is like, what's the ratio between the two different sides? Okay. Now, right here, this theorem, if 2 polygons are similar, then the ratio of their perimeters is equal to the ratio of their corresponding side lengths. Okay, that's also the scale factor. That is true. Don't focus too much on that. We're just saying if they're similar, then their perimeters also will have like a ratio between them that matches the scale factor. Okay, so if we look here, we are asked to decide, are these two shapes similar? So a couple things to look for. First off, we notice that these angles are all congruent. So like this has 1 arc, matches 1, 2 with 2, 3 with 3, 4 with 4. Now the angles might not always be marked, but if they are marked, that tells us we're good. So we know the angles are good. So now we can compare the sides. So if we start up here, like these two sides between 2 and 3, that's 8. So that matches up with this 2 and 3 is 6. So if we set that up, if If I do 8 over 6, that would reduce to 4 over 3. Now let's go to the next one, 12 over 9. That also reduces to 4 over 3. So through 2 we're consistent. Let's try the last two. 20 over 15. And once again, that would be 4 over 3. And our final one, 16 over 12, also reduces to 4 over 3. So in this case, each set of sides reduces to 4 over 3. They are all following that same ratio. They are proportional to one another. Okay, so our scale factor would be 4 over 3. Now it says if they are similar, write a similarity statement. So our similarity statement, this first polygon, we can call it whatever we want as long as we choose a point and we go around the edge. So I'll just start at F. So FGHJ. And notice they're not congruent because they're not the exact same size. This one had a side of 8, that one had a side of 6. So this one is clearly smaller. But FGHJ is similar. Now for this, once again, F has to match up with the side or the angle that it's the same as. So F has 3 arcs, so it matches up with K. G has 2, that matches with L. And once we get those first two, we just follow it around. Okay? So K, L, M, N. And this up to the right, that would be our similarity statement. Now, example B here. On this one, we know that B and E are the same, so that's one angle. We don't know about A and C, and how A and D compare in C and F. But we got one angle that we can start with. But at this point, we can't be for sure that all of the angles are congruent, okay? But if you see that the angles aren't congruent, then you don't even need to check the sides. You know right away that they can't be similar. But in our case, they could be. We aren't sure. So let's check it. So this first one, up here, well, if we look, our longest side, we can compare our longest side to our longest side. So 12 and 11. So if we did that, it'd be 12 over 11. Now the second, that one can't reduce. Okay, second longest side would be 8 and 7. So 8 over 7, that also can't reduce. So if we look here, are those the same, 12 over 11 and 8 over 7? And I think you probably know the answer that no, that's clearly not the same. So that tells us that these are not similar. It's not proportional, okay? Now, down here, it already tells us that these shapes are similar. So pentagon CDFGH is similar to pentagon JKLMN. Now remember, pentagon just means 5-sided figure. C matches with J, D matches with K, etc. Okay. So now find the value of X and Y. So the first thing we want to do is find what is our scale factor between these. So if we look here, the only sides that match up, like there's an 18 here between C and H. C to H is the same as J to N. J to N, that has a Y. So that doesn't really help us. Okay, we know that Y over 18, something about that's important, but we don't know what Y is. Over here though, D to F, that's the second to the third, so that matches with K to L. K to L is 6, D to F is 9. So we can set that up, 9 over 6, and this will reduce 3 over 2. So that is our scale factor right here. 3 over 2 is our scale factor. Okay, so now to find the value of X and Y, we can set up some proportions. So 3 over 2, 3 is our bigger one on the left, 2 is on the right, the smaller one. And if we look here, like this X is between C and D, it's the first and the second, so J and K have a 2. So over here, if it was 3 over 2, we can set that equal to X over 2. Now if we cross multiply, we'll get 6 equals 2x. Divide by 2, x will equal 3. Now we need to do the same thing for y. So on this one, we have 3 over 2 equals, now the y is going to go on the bottom because it's part of the smaller shape. The y is between j and n. So we look up here, j is the first, n is the fifth. So between c and h we have an 18, so we put that up top. And from here we can go. So we cross multiply. 2 times 18 is 36. 3 times y, 3y. Divide by 3. We'll get y to equal 12. Okay, so we're almost done here. We got one more we want to look at. This last one, once again, it's a different version. Up here they said is similar. They use words to tell us the similarity statement. Here they use the symbol. So ABCD is similar to TSVU. Find the value of y. Give the scale factor of the polygons. So y is on both of these. So this one's maybe a little bit more challenging. But if we think about it, AB is 17. That matches up with TS. So 17, TS here, 25.5. So if I set this up, I can do 17 over 25.5. Now, if we do that, we see that both of these are the same, so it doesn't matter which one we choose, because they're the same. It will have to go on top because the 17 was on top. So we set this equal, and on top here we're going to put 3y minus 3.5. Okay. Now, on the bottom, that one will match up. We can double check BC here, second and third, so SV, which over here is 3y plus 6. Now from here, we're going to cross multiply. So we cross multiply here like that. And this one, you might need to use a calculator. That's fine. It does get a little more messy. 3y times 17 gives us 51y. 6 times 17, 102. Okay, now all of that will equal, here's where it gets kind of messy. 3y times 25.5, that's going to be 76.5y. And 25.5 times negative 3.5, negative 89.25. Okay, now from here, we can add that 89.25 over with the 102. We'll subtract 51 over. We'll do both of those. And that will result in 191.25. And will equal 25.5y. We're almost done. Just divide both sides by 25.5, and we get y to equal 7.5. Okay, now we found what y is. The next one is give the scale factor of the polygon. So this one, some of you might think is a little bit more difficult. Once again, we'll start with 17 over 25.5. But when we reduce our scale factor, we like to have it in whole numbers. So right now 25.5 is not a whole number. If we double that, we can double both of these. We just multiply by like 2 over 2. It's the same as multiplying by 1, so it doesn't change it, but it changes how it looks. And we'll get 34 over 51. And that right there is our scale factor. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Once again, now it's time for you to take a look at your assignment. So go in here to It's Learning, go to Resources, go to Chapter 7, come down here to today's date 2/1, and right here's the assignment. Let's see, I think this one, 7 questions. So this first one says, are these figures similar? So you're going to compare them. You'll say yes or no. And then we're going to explain kind of why are they not similar if they aren't. Okay, so just tell me a little bit about it, and then follow these directions. If you need any help, please reach out. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in a few days, hopefully.